Hi there, my name is Jackson Newman, and I'm going to be talking about the relationship between substance use, recidivism, and community crime rates. This is from my crjs 480 senior seminar class with Dr. Christina Mancini. So first, I'm going to give a brief introduction about substance use, crime, and recidivism. So law enforcement agencies across the United States have continued to encounter challenges related to substance use and its very strong connection to crime and recidivism. Well, these agencies in response have increasingly recognized just how interconnected these issues are, as well as the need to understand and identify these underlying causes of substance use in order to effectively reduce crime and recidivism. Now, many studies and research have actually shown that lowering crime and recidivism rates requires strategies and policies that address these underlying drivers. Well, since substance use has been a very polarized topic among society, I think we understand that drugs and alcohol can negatively affect many areas of an individual's life. This includes work, school, family, and maybe their social circle. However, one of the most significant and notable risks associated with substance use is actually its connection to crime. And so according to the National Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependence, 80% of offenders abuse drugs or alcohol. Furthermore, showing this correlation between mind-altering substances, criminal behavior, and increased recidivism. Now, public attitudes toward substance use remain very polarized. It is difficult for law enforcement agencies and policymakers to develop strategies. However, despite this division, many law enforcement officials do argue the need for evidence-based approaches, stronger collaboration with public health agencies, and community-led initiatives to address the interconnected relationship between substance use and crime. Now, in the multiple sources that I reviewed, I identified various key facts that I think will be useful to share. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the relationship between substance use and crime. Well, research has shown that alcohol and drugs play a significant role in a percentage of crimes and arrests. The DOJ specifically has identified this strong relationship, noting that substances such as heroin, cocaine, marijuana, and amphetamines carry a high potential for abuse. And not only do these individuals are they at higher risk for substance abuse, and getting an addiction, but it also increases their likelihood, indirectly and directly, in engaging in deviant behavior or just leading to a life of crime, such as robbery or trafficking, in order to sustain their addiction to substances. One of the big focuses of my studies was rehabilitation versus punitive approaches, and which is best. And in short, there needs to be a balance of both. As we know, rehabilitation focuses on treating these underlying causes of criminal behavior. This can include poverty, mental illness, addiction, and limited education. And these punitive approaches emphasize retribution, deterrence, and incapacitation, which have traditionally have been valued for delivering justice not only to survivors and victims, but also the community as a whole, and has demonstrated, that it's effective in reducing long-term crime. Going back to something that I learned in a previous class was Cesar Beccaria, and how he influenced kind of a historical shift toward proportionality and deterrence rather than relying on harsh punishment, noting that yes, while an individual that commits a crime needs to be held accountable and should be punished, they also should receive treatment and help if that is something they need, which can furthermore allow them to return to society potentially one day and be a functioning member of society. And now more modern and progressive law enforcement agencies again have increasingly favored rehabilitation due to overcrowded prisons, high recidivism, and limited effectiveness of punitive only models. A little bit about rehabilitation and how it reduces recidivism. Well, a majority of individuals entering the criminal justice system are either using illegal drugs at the time of arrest or have a pre-existing substance use disorder, according to the National Institute of Health. Additionally, drug-involved offenders experience high relapse rates and recidivism rates. So 68% are rearrested within 3 years. In turn, rehabilitation and treatment within the justice system can significantly reduce crime and strengthen that long-term public safety goals and initiatives. In one of my sources, they discuss the effectiveness of therapeutic communities. So I identified 3 programs, which, when combined with aftercare, produce significant benefits to incarcerated individuals experiencing addiction or substance use disorders. So at this Delaware Key CRESS program, 69% of individuals were arrest-free after 3 years with aftercare. 35% were drug-free, and only 17% of in-prison participants were arrest-free. There was also a Pennsylvania study, and these results demonstrated that there were lower reincarceration and rearrest rates. And lastly, this Minnesota study, there was a reduced hazard of rearrest and reincarceration as well. Overall, the findings show that therapeutic communities with post-release support significantly reduce recidivism and improve long-term outcomes. Now, criticism research about the study that I reviewed. Bons-Durant et al. 2018 examined how expanding access to substance use treatment affects local crime rates. And the study used county-level variation in openings and closings of treatment facilities in order to identify the impacts. Now, these findings show that these facilities reduced violent and financially motivated crimes, including homicide. And overall, the study just highlights the larger societal benefits of treatment access that extends beyond individual level outcomes. Some strengths that I identified in the research was that they used county and law enforcement panel data to account for demographic, economic, and policing factors. Research design allowed for analysis of rare or underreported crimes, including homicide. They also captured the secondary effects on families, communities, and local drug markets. And their findings were strengthened by additional analysis supporting reliability and validity. And overall, the results show that expanding SAT facilities reduces serious crime in heavily populated areas like an urban city, like Richmond. Some limitations that I identified and future research needs. Aggregate county-level data limits the ability to separate effects on individuals from broader community impacts. It also does not account for distance to treatment facilities or differences in facility type, capacity, or quality. Openings and closings of facilities are not random, introducing potential confounding factors. No significant effects were found to be more common, less serious crimes, limiting generalizability. And future research should also examine individual level outcomes, geographic proximity, and variation in treatment types to refine an understanding of SAT's impacts on crime. Some implications for research, policy, and criminal justice reform. Like I mentioned, Bons-Durant's study helps kind of further our understanding of how substance use influences community crime and how treatment can reduce it. Research should continue to examine individual level outcomes to distance treatment facilities and differences in treatment types to better understand how treatment impacts crime and recidivism. And these policies should indicate that expanding access to substance use treatment and aftercare programs can help reduce these rates. Moreover, people should receive continued attention to this topic may also drive meaningful criminal justice reforms as evidence increasingly supports rehabilitative approaches. Some practitioner insights from our interview with Safety Ambassador Supervisor Brian Sussman. is that he reports that while alcohol and substance use is present on college campuses, VCU doesn't experience higher rates than other universities. However, some students still require support and intervention. Students that need support can contact VCU Police Department, and they will be referred to university counseling services so that they can get the help that they need. And also, Sussman stresses that individuals encountering law enforcement should have opportunities to receive treatment for underlying issues, supporting long-term reintegration and reducing repeat offenses. But being in an urban environment, Richmond's higher risk neighborhoods can influence campus safety through nearby drug activity. And a few of the neighborhoods that he had given as an example is Carver, Jackson Ward, and Churchill. He noticed that in some instances, kind of this drug activity spills over onto VCU campuses. Lastly, he emphasized the importance of collaboration between police and community health organizations, advocating for approaches that address root causes rather than relying solely on law enforcement. Thank you so much.